Jessamine Community Band, under the direction of Tim Johnson, is proud to bring you a concert featuring music that has inspired our great country and its musical heritage. The last couple of years, this concert has been held at the Band Glass Pavilion, and behind now what is called. Last year, after the concert, some of you may remember how hot it was. The mayor of Wilmore contacted me and he said, "Doug, why don't the band do it next year at Hughes Auditorium?" And I said, "Let me get you Tim Johnson's number right now." And the rest is history. And yeah, isn't that great? Now, before we start, we celebrate today. But as you know, in life, with celebration comes sadness. Some of you may notice that across the stage from me, there is an empty chair to the left of Conductor Johnson. Sadly, on June the 11th, this band lost one of its members. His name was Roman Jenkins. He played French horn. He was a vital part of this band. He was a vital part of music in our community. And he is sorely missed, and we dedicate this concert to his memory today. And at this time, we want to celebrate his life by observing a moment of silence for him as we express sympathy to his family. Thank you. We know that Ron is with us today and knows this band will do a great job. We begin today's concert with a composition from the pen of internationally known composer James Curnow. The Intrada Americana is written for the Jessamine County High School Band back in 1979. The music is exemplary of the vibrant spirit of America, and it captures the essence of celebration and patriotism. It is true homage to American vigor. Intrada Americana. Few patriotic songs stir our hearts more than our own national anthem, and before we have that, we are proud to have a presentation of colors today by the Wilmore Fire Department. Would you please stand? My apologies, the Wilmore Police Department, please present colors. You may be seated. We go back to September 14th, 1814. American forces resisted the dramatic British bombardment of Fort McHenry and proved they could stand up to a brave world power. The exploding shells and the rocket fire from British warships inspired Francis Scott Key to pen the lyrics to the Star-Spangled Banner. Seeing no way to penetrate American defenses, the British withdrew their troops and gave up their Chesapeake campaign. Now, although we rarely sing the final stanza of the national anthem, it's perhaps the most meaningful of all four verses. Here it is. Oh, thus be it ever when free men shall stand between their loved home and the war's dissolution. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved a nation. Then conquer we must when it cause is just, and this be our motto, in God we trust. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the home and the free of the home of the brave. No one writes more exquisitely patriotic music than a fellow named James L. Hosay. Now, he was a former head arranger of Pershing's own United States Army Band in Washington, D.C. And the moving symphonic setting of the Star-Spangled Banner is a rich and compelling way to reflect on the importance and the meaning of this melody. So we ask you once again, if you would, please stand as the Jessamine Community Band performs James Hosay's A Patriotic Salute. And we also welcome today our vocalist, Higginbotham.
By the dawn's early
was meant to be. Meant to be. On July 4, 1776, the 56 delegates to the Second Continental Congress, represented by the 13 colonies, voted to approve the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration proclaimed that the 13 colonies were now, quote, free and independent states, no longer colonies of the Kingdom of Great Britain, and thus no longer a part of the British Empire. Our very own Tim Johnson has composed our next selection. It's called For Liberty and Unity. And you will hear excerpts from the Declaration of Independence and the preamble to the Constitution during the playing of this beautiful musical tribute. by composer Chris Sharp. Features a multitude of well-known tunes. The medley's timeline begins when our country was still a colony of the British Empire. It continues through the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, the westward expansion, the Civil War, and World War I. Featured songs in this composition include God Save the Queen, The Girl I Left Behind Me, Chester, Hail Columbia, Columbia Gem of the Ocean, Shenandoah, When Johnny Comes Marching Home, The Battle Cry of Freedom, Over There, and the Caisson Song. The grand finale features a rousing rendition of the beloved anthem, America the Beautiful. This is indeed a magnificent musical tribute to our homeland. our next selection, we'd like to introduce to you a gentleman who served 19 months in Vietnam. He served with the 132nd Assault Helicopter Company. He was a door gunner on a Huey helicopter and a Chinook helicopter. He is the recipient of Bronze Star, Air Medal, Army Accommodation Medal, and Vietnam Citation Medal. He is going to present to you today a presentation called American Freedom and the Flag. Please make welcome Ron McCauley.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Mayor Rainwater, for giving me such an honor to stand here with everyone today. If these patriotic songs don't move us, I don't know what will. But I'm honored to be American, to be a patriot, and here we are celebrating 250 years of our heritage, independence, and freedom. And our freedom has never been automatic, it's never been guaranteed, it's never been inherited. Our freedom has always been secured, protected, and defended by that next generation. Our freedom has been supported by three enduring pillars. The first pillar has been faith and prayer. Because before there was America, there was faith and prayer. But this faith and prayer is what has sustained America in its darkest hours. And our second pillar has been sacrifice. Because our freedom has required sacrifice, and thousands upon thousands has paid that cost of freedom. Because our freedom has come with a tremendous cost. Our third pillar is bravery and courage. It's the men that was called up or came forth and held up their right arm, took that oath, put that uniform on, took those orders, went across the oceans, fought in the trenches in France, laid in the foxholes of Germany with the enemy fire over their head, stormed the beaches of Normandy, fought their way out of ambushes, won those far fights, stormed those hills, took those hills, and secured the rice paddies. And I've asked myself, where did this faith, this sacrifice, and this courage take root? And I think back to 1607 when those three ships pulled up on, as we know today, modern-day Virginia Beach, the Godspeed, the Discovery, and the Susan Constant, with a little less than 100 men and boys, no women, led by Reverend Robert Hunt. They climbed down on those three ships, knelt in the sand, put a cross in the sand, they dedicated this new world to God, they founded Jamestown. But then just 13 years later, the Mayflower pulls up at New Plymouth with 102 plus men, women, and children with the same faith, same courage, and same willing to sacrifice, and they found the Plymouth colonies. But then in the late 1730s, Reverend Robert Wilhite, George Wilhite went around the colonies and brought in, as we know today in history, the Great Awakening. And I believe that Great Awakening, what was inspired those men on April 19, 1775 in Lexington, Massachusetts, they stand up against the most powerful empire on the earth. They were not a military. They didn't have the resources of military. They were farmers, blacksmiths, store clerks, and patriots. It was a day we leave the history, the shot heard around the world, but before sunset, 40 of them gave their lives. Or was it less than 60 days later, June the 17th at Bunker Hill? Or was it July 1776 when these 56 men met? Or was it when red, white, and blue came on the scene to my right down here in 1777? And I want to yield to red, white, and blue, because if this flag could talk, it'd say, I'm the flag of the United States of America, and I've been around for 249 years, and I have many stories to tell, and I'm honored to be here today. Now, I recognize you veterans because you've saluted me many times, and some of you pulled me to half-mast, and some of you, with tears in your eyes, have taken me off the battlefield when I've been weathered and torn. And some of you have draped me across the caskets of my fallen comrades. Now, I'd like to start with a short story about my founding fathers, General George Washington, Francis Hopkinson, and John George Ross. All the preparation and planning they couldn't be, General George Washington took those plans, went to Betsy Ross, instructed her to put me together. He instructed her in my 7 red stripes with each stitch of red to sow in bravery and valor, and my white stripes innocent purity, and my blue perseverance and justice. And oh, I remember that glorious day, June the 14th, 1777, when I took my first flight up the flagpole with 13 stars. But that was 249 years ago, and today I have 50 stars, and my name is Old Glory. And I've been in every conflict, I've been in every battle, and I've been in every war. Yes, just 60 days after I took my first flight, I was Ochi Bridge. And then I was there at Trenton, I was at Saratoga, yes, I was at Savannah, and Charlestown. But the one I remember the most and most proud of, I stand right beside General George Washington, April the 19th, 1781, when British General Charles Cornwallis surrendered to General George Washington at Yorktown. That was the battle that changed the war in the favor of General George Washington. And yes, I was there September 2nd, 1783, along with Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, John James, George III, at the signing of the peace treaty. And yes, I was there those dreary days, September 23rd and 24th, 1814, at Fort McHenry, when the British broke that peace treaty and lined up to blow Fort McHenry off the face of the earth. Francis Scott McKees went aboard one of the ships and pleaded with the admiral. He said, see all these ships? Our mission is for them to surrender, or we're going to blow them off the face of the earth. Francis Scott said, there's women and children inside Fort McHenry, you can't do that. He says, see that flag? He's pointing to me. He said, all they got to do is lower and we're seized. Well, for 25 hours they bombarded us. I took a couple of direct hits, but those men and women inside Fort McHenry would not let me fall. They propped me up with their dead bodies. The British underestimated the DNA within inside that Fort McHenry because their fathers and their granddads, April the 19th, 1775, gave them this freedom, and they weren't going to give this freedom up. And yes, I was standing right beside President Woodrow Wilson, April 1917, when he so boldly confronted his cabinet and his Congress and said, I'm entering this war to bring the end of all wars. And then I remember that dreary morning, 8:50 a.m., December the 7th, 1941, when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor with 6 aircraft carriers with 350 plus high-altitude, horizontal, and dive bombers. Yes, they hit USS Arizona, USS California, USS Utah, USS Nevada, USS Tennessee. Yes, for an hour and 30 minutes, I watched them bombard Pearl Harbor, and we lost 2,400 men and women. And I was there the next day, December the 8th, when President Franklin D. Roosevelt declared war against Japan, and 3 days later against Germany. And then I was in the Midway. Yes, and I was at Wake Islands, I was at the Philippines, I was at the Battle of the Bulge, I was at Normandy, and I was there D-Day. And yes, I was there May the 7th, 1945, when Germany surrendered, and September the 2nd, 1945, when Japan surrendered. And yes, I was in South Korea when we helped liberate them to be a free country, and it's still a free country today, and I'm still there. And yes, I was in South Vietnam. I was in the Mekong Delta, Saigon, Cam Ranh Bay, Duck Hole, San Juan Hill, Chu Lai, Tai Tree, Hill 411, LZ West Hamburger Hill, Da Nang, and Cam Duck and DMZ. Yes, I was in Vietnam for 20 years, and we gave South Vietnam something they didn't have before we got there, and they haven't had since we left, and that's freedom. And yes, I was in the Desert Storm, and yes, I remember that dreadful day, August 26, 2021, when Joe Biden, President, pulled us out of Afghanistan, and we lost 13 of our finest, 11 Marines, 1 Navy, and 1 Army. I was draped across those 13 caskets loaded on the Angel flight, and I was with them all the way to their loved ones. And as I stand on top of some of the tall skyscrapers all across our great country, as I look down, I can always tell that soldier by the way he walks and carries himself. But as I look down, today I see the rioting, I see the robbery, the rape, and the murder, and I think, what's going on? And I think back to our Declaration of Independence, our 56 founding fathers that signed it where they referenced God 4 places. See, they had faith because they referenced God 4 places. God the Creator, God Divine, God Supreme, and God of nature. And courage, they had tremendous courage. And then sacrifice, they wrote in the last couple sentences, you know, we mutually agree to sacrifice our lives, sacrifice our fortunes, and sacrifice our sacred oaths. And they did just that. 12 of them died on the Revolutionary battlefield with the battlefield wounds. And then I think about Abraham Lincoln, April 1863, calling his cabinet members together in his Union Army for a day of fasting and prayer. And I was standing right beside President Woodrow Wilson in April 1918 when he called this nation to pray. And then I was there December, Christmas Eve, 24th, 1941, alongside President Franklin D. Roosevelt, when he called on national radio for our country to pray for our troops and pray for our great country. And then again, December the 6th, 1944, President Franklin D. Roosevelt on national radio said one of the most awesome prayers ever said over this nation, and again called our nation to pray. And then I was there on the White House steps with President Truman and Reverend Billy Graham, February 1952, when they held a Christian crusade and prayed for this great nation. And then July the 30th, 1956, 84th Congress voted in, united, in God we trust. President Eisenhower made it law. In 1957, we started printing our money, in God we trust. And oh, how I would long for those Sunday mornings all across our great nation, because every back road and every street corner, the church bells ringing, the praise and worship was sending up, and you could feel God coming down. And oh, how I remember those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays all across our great nation. Every schoolhouse, millions of students were saying their morning prayers to God and their morning praise allegiance to me. But then something happened. We took prayer out of school. Then we took 10 Commandments out of school, taking me out of some of them. Then we signed in legal abortion. And then June the 26th, 2015, Obama lights our White House up with rainbow colors, celebrating same-sex marriage. And then I hear in the distance people say I'm owed something. Owed something. And I think owed something. I think back to that Revolutionary War when those men and women fought for 12 years to give us America. And then I think of the 105,000 men that gave their lives in World War I to keep us free. And the 420,000 that gave their lives in World War II to keep us free. And I believe you agree with me. Those men in World War I and World War II, you know them, I know them. They were my great-granddad, my granddad, my uncles, and your granddads, and your great-granddads. And I remember my granddad and my dad who fought in World War, in Korean War, my granddad fought in World War I as a man. And those men that won World War I was not a woke military. And those men that won World War II was not a woke military. They were not painting their nails and wearing bras. And as I stand in Arlington National Cemetery, or right here at Camp Nelson, in Camp Nelson National Cemetery, whether the wind is blowing me to the north, east, south, or west, as I look out across the cemetery, I see row upon row of these white martyrs, fallen heroes that paid the price, the sacrifice, the cost of freedom. But as I look out across there, I see that just this year, 14 we've taken. I've straight across the castles from Kuwait or Iran, brought home, laid in the cemetery, one right here at Camp Nelson. And as I look out across that freshly dug grave, I see that family standing there. I see that little boy and girl reaching out, Daddy. Daddy. I see the wife looking down at her husband, crying uncontrollably. I see the mom squeezing me so tight and looking down at her son. And the dad standing there with tears running down his eyes, with a pain and hurt like he's never felt before, with his fist clenched. And I think if somebody is owed something, it would be them. I'm the flag of the United States of America, and I stand for freedom. Now I'll close with this. America was called to be a Christian nation, to be a light on the hill. We're standing, I believe, at a crossroads. We're our next generation, and our next generation, will we continue this independence, this heritage, and this freedom? We're all called here. Same as Abraham Lincoln called his cabinet and his Union Army. Same as President Woodrow Wilson called America to pray. Same as President Franklin D. Roosevelt called us twice to pray for our troops and pray for our nation. Same as President Ronald Reagan, and same as our present day President Trump has called us to pray. That's our duty as an American, not on the battlefield. To pray for our troops, pray for our great country, pray for our leaders, and pray that God will never take his hand, never take his favor, and never take his anointing off this country. Thank you all for letting me share.
The Jessamine Community Band next takes you on a musical trip across our great United States of America. James Curnow has composed a beautiful symphonic rhapsody based on American people, and it's called Amber Waves of Grain. This piece utilizes many contrasting moods, styles, and dynamics to capture his view of America. Among the motifs from America the Beautiful, an original theme has been woven to create a set of descriptive variations that reflect these many contrasting moods. And as we celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country, listen to these poignant words penned by Catherine Lee Bates. "O beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life." At this time, let me give you some dates that you may have heard of. 253 years ago, December 16, 1773, the Boston Tea Party. 252 years ago, September 5th, 1774, the First Continental Congress. 251 years ago, June 14, 1775, the birth of the U.S. Army. 250 years ago today, July 4, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was adopted. And 249 years ago, February 26, 1777, an important day in Wilmore, Harold Rainwater elected mayor. Here he is now.
Seems like it was that long ago. Before I say a few words about our 150, Tim, I don't know how you get across there, but maybe you don't have to if that's too long. But I'd like to present Tim, the closest thing I have to a gold coin, but it's a salute to service. It's got Wilmore, it's got Kentucky, but most important, it's got America 250. It's an eagle. It's a special edition. When these are gone, they're gone. But I have one for you and each of your members. Thank you to Tim for being the point on this today. Last year at Dan Glass Pavilion, they filled the pavilion. A few stood on the outside, and we knew we wanted to grow this and do this to accommodate a group like this. And thank you so much. Welcome to Wilmore's 4th of July celebration. As we gather today to celebrate the birth of our nation, it is fitting that we take a moment to reflect on the rich history of our community and the pioneers whose vision and determination helped shape both Kentucky and Wilmore. Before Kentucky became a state, this region was known as No Man's Land. Northern Shawnee and my southern Cherokees basically fought here and found game. Early settlers began arriving in central Kentucky in the 1770s. Harrodsburg, originally Harrodstown, was established in 1774. Daniel Boone founded Boonesboro in 1775. And a group of hunters established McConnell Springs, now Lexington, was settled that same year. In October of 1779, just 1 mile from here, Samuel Drake established a settlement at present we call Drake Lane. By 1782, a large landowner, John Scott, owned approximately 45,000 acres, 70 square miles. All of Jessamine County is only 175 square miles. So you see the significance of the ownership of this person who lived here. In 1792, Kentucky officially became the 15th state of the Union, and during these formative years, Methodist circuit riders such as Francis Asbury traveled throughout Kentucky, literally on Lexington Avenue, spreading faith and building communities that would influence our region for generations. But the story of Wilmore itself begins in 1876. When the Cincinnati Southern Railroad established a flag stop near the Kentucky River to begin to build this marvel. They also established one in what we call Wilmore today, near the railroad tracks downtown. At that time, this bridge was considered the highest railroad bridge in the world and was regarded as one of the greatest engineering achievements of his time. The train stop local here was at that time known as Scott Station. It was named after John Scott, whose estate once occupied land where Clyde Crawford, just over here to my left, building sat. A dispute between the railroad and Mr. Scott over the accidental death of two of his prized tenants, female donkeys, eventually led to the community being renamed Wilmore in honor of another prominent landowner. Thus, Wilmore began with a lawsuit. Some things haven't changed. By 1878, the first general store had been established. By the late 1880s, several businesses were serving our growing community. The first church was established down on the corner, Presbyterian Church in 1884. The Methodist Church followed in 1885, and several more along Lexington Avenue over the next decade. Education soon became a defining part of Wilmore's identity. In 1890, John Wesley Hughes came to Wilmore seeking a location for a new Christian college. Local citizens, two business owners and a leader in the Methodist Church here, rallied behind his vision and raised $1,600 to support this effort. On September the 2nd, 1890, Asbury College opened its doors with 11 students and 3 faculty members. That institution would later become Asbury University, one of the cornerstones of our community today. Just across the street, Asbury Theological Seminary also grew from those early beginnings here and became a separate institution and just celebrated its 100th in 2023. Further establishing Wilmore as a center for Christian higher education known around the world. Like many communities, Wilmore faced challenges along the way. Fires in 1909, 1911, and 1924 caused significant destruction to businesses and buildings. Yet each time the people of Wilmore rebuilt stronger than before. The 1909 fire destroyed Asbury's campus, which was located near where the post office, Farmers Bank, and the Methodist Church is now. But the community of Wilmore raised $15,000. No easy task in those days to begin to relocate the campus to where it is today, and the administration building just 2 doors down began in 1909. Following the 1924 fire, the city purchased its first fire truck and organized a formal fire department demonstrating resilience and determination that continues to characterize the community. Throughout the 20th century, Wilmore continued to grow, and such as Thompsonville Veterans Center, Wesley Village became important parts of our community fabric. Today, these organizations, along with our schools, our churches, our businesses, and our universities, continue to provide opportunities and services to thousands of people. This year is especially meaningful as we celebrate America's independence. We are also celebrating Wilmore's Sesquicentennial, 150 years since the founding of our city. For a century and a half, generations of residents have worked together to build a community founded on faith, education, service, and neighborly care. Today, as we enjoy the 4th of July celebration, let us remember the courage of our nation's founders, the sacrifices of our veterans and military families, and the perseverance of those who built Wilmore from a small railroad stop into the vibrant community we cherish today. May we continue to honor their legacy by serving one another, supporting our community, and preserving the values that will make Wilmore a special place to call home. As we celebrate 250 years of America's independence and 150 years of Wilmore's history, let us look forward to the same faith, courage, and commitment that guided those who came before us. Thank you for joining us today. May God bless Wilmore. May God bless Kentucky. May God bless the United States of America.
Does pretty good to be that old, doesn't it? It's because he's married to that young woman right there. That's what did it. We have some thank yous that we want to hand out today. You know, this particular thing does not happen without the help of a lot of people. And it's been that way since it started. First off, let me tell you, or ask you, how many here today, this is your first time hearing the band? We have first, oh, look at there. We are so glad that you came, and we hope you'll come back to future band concerts that are held throughout the year. I'll tell you, this band started about 3 years ago with 8 people. That was it. Are you, any of you 8 here today? Raise your hand. You're one of the 8. They got a hold of Alan Jacobus and Tim Johnson, and this is what it has grown into in only 3 years. Quite amazing. But again, with help. First, we want to thank Asbury University for the use of Hughes Auditorium today. A wonderful thing. The logistics of presenting a concert like this is very complicated, more than you can ever imagine. And Asbury was so helpful in every way. Beyond that, the university is largely responsible for the fact that they even exist because they allow them to use their band room every week to practice. They allow them to have access to percussion instruments. And without the support, the band just couldn't function as it does. So thank you so much, Asbury University. By the way, Asbury, well, they're the ones doing the next thing, right? The university, or is it the seminary? Okay. We had the wrong word here, to make sure it's right. Asbury Theological Seminary, which is right across the street, has a special treat for you as you exit today. Ice cream, I think, is waiting for you back there, so make sure you take advantage of that. Thank you to the Theological Seminary for that. Also, Wilmore for allowing this group to be a part of this glorious celebration of our American heritage and has the last 3 years. And finally, thanks to you. You know, this band can play all day long. I've heard them without an audience, and they're really good. Boy, they just sound so much better when you're here because they love to perform for you. Without you, it just would be a band practice. So thank you so much for coming. Your support has just truly been heartwarming, and they love playing for you. Now, let me take time to tell you, they do it for free. They're not paid at all. With that being said, there are expenses, believe it or not. They have to buy music. They have to buy lots of other things to make this work. They are a 501(c)(3), and they have asked for your support. As you exit today, is it a blue bucket or is it a brown hat this time? Blue bucket will be out in the front. Your presence today is absolutely free. So if you would, maybe get your billfold there, pull out a few dollars and put in that bucket. That will help them to continue this in our community. So be sure to look for that before you get your ice cream. It's in the lobby? Okay. Okay, now we want to salute the men and women of our armed forces, both past and present. The Jessamine County Community Band will present the March of the Armed Forces. From the militiamen of our colonial days up to the present armed forces members, the United States of America has maintained a fighting force which is always ready to defend our country when needed. The band now salutes these men and women, both past and present, of all America's armed forces. So, when you hear the branch song of your branch or service, we would ask that you veterans please stand so that we can recognize you. Thank you. Maestro. Did you know that in addition to our country having a national anthem, we also have a national hymn? God of Our Fathers, written in 1876 by Daniel Crane Roberts, who was an American Civil War veteran, to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. This stirring melody, known as the national hymn, was composed later by George W. Warren in 1892. In our present day, the hymn is a staple of American celebrations, most notably on Independence Day for its blend of spiritual devotion and national pride. As the Jessamine Community Band concludes her performance today with a stirring arrangement by Claude T. Smith, we leave you with the words of the last stanza of this great hymn, which reminds us of the divine influence of our country's 250-year history. And part of the way through, you will be invited to join in the singing of this stanza. The words are found at the bottom of your program. Refresh thy people on their toilsome way, lead us from night to never-ending day. Fill all our lives, love and grace divine, and glory, laud, and praise ever be thine. Now, we have our national hymn, and we will be joined on the organ by Dr. Schell.